Actually, what we could probably do is use the spacer. Let's take this. I mean, I'd like to have it that big if possible.
Yep.
No, it's rubber.
Should be right. Well, why don't we just turn down the collapsible spacer?
Yeah, it's the right.
Let's just part this off and turn that down. It's close enough.
Yeah, it'll do. It'll do, pig.
Oh, this one's close, but it's too... Ooh, the ID's too big.
It's way too big.
Yeah.
We'll just see if we... Do you have any NB tube that might be low?
Nah. My smallest MB is 40. My manifolds are built to flow. The perks of working in a machine shop. Found a bit, which will take minimal machining. OD is probably like 1.5 mil smaller. ID is probably bang on almost. Might need 2 mil out. Actually, do we have a boring bit here? Yeah. Oh, here we go, boring bar. Alright, so we're going to snap to this. Pretty boring shit, so I won't bother boring you with this. This video is probably dragging on enough as it is. Anyway, take it away.
Turn ourselves a new leaf.
That's it. Alright, moment of truth.
5.2.
Mate, that's pretty precision.
Oops, we almost picked it up on a burr. Oh, it's hot.
Too hot to handle.
5 point. Yeah, when it's not on a burr, it's on the money. 5.2.
Mate, that's pretty impressive.
Alright, so let that cool down.
So that wasn't too bad. It was probably like 10 minutes work. Thankfully we had some stock that was close enough.
Just barrel into it.
Yeah, just send it. Do you want me to chuck that bearing back on the old hot plate then?
Might as well.
Yep. Wait, where is the bearing? Oh, it's in the bloody case.
Imagine if it was some sort of thing where they'd already corrected it for us and they didn't expect us to actually check that properly.
Fuck.
You go fucking put it on and it's way out.
So this is all nice and clean. So you know the drill. Mounting paste on any bearing surfaces. Meanwhile, Ben's got these on the heat plate as well. Keep making sure that they go back to their appropriate cup. As you can see.
I'm going to press, we'll tap this one in, and this side here is going to be the right hand side of the plate, and the other one will be the left hand side of the plate. So the bearing I take off the right hand side will go on here, and the matching cup will go on this side with the other bearing.
42 height?
Which way does it go? I think it goes this way.
Always such a stress out when it's coming off the hot plate.
Just gotta believe.
You're like, run, run.
Okay, so we'll let that settle down, and then this will be a good illustrator of measuring what we're talking about measuring from there to there. But the fit is pretty light, so we can just tap it.
So basically, as this cools, it cools from the outside in. So is it equally either way?
It contracts about its center plane, so it's gonna. So if the center of the bearing's there, it's gonna pull this way and it's gonna pull that way.
Yeah.
As the heat's sucked out from the inner ring to the casing.
Yeah.
So that one's on. What we need now is a little stand for the inside, so we don't. Perfect.
I love having all these bits and pieces hanging around. How good is that? Go, go, go! Good stop.
That's it. So this is the seating surface here, where the seal runs. And you'll see that little hole there is where the air goes into the gallery that feeds the clutch. The dog clutch.
Someone said dog box.
Pretty much similar concept, but But so those puppies are on, which is good. We'll let that settle down.
Settle down now.
Settle down. Okay.
We're cooking?
Let's go.
Got the spacer? Yep.
Might be a trip over to the press. No, you didn't try when you start knocking shit over. I saw you might be sleeping on my.
I'm not getting tired, trust me. I'm all good, I got this. Thank God for the press.
So if you try to flog that, it would take a lot of flogging.
Yeah.
Wow, look at how much it's spaced out.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll
what
leave
the analytics say.
We'll leave it here for a sec.
Yeah, you could probably leave it under pressure and then it'll stop it shrinking.
Well, that's that. The only issue is that collapsible spacer is probably not right now.
It probably isn't. It's not fully on the
Hugely
thing.
ideal because the journal's a little short, but I guess most of the load's up this way, so.
Mate, most people would not pick that up.
Although the good thing is because it's 5 mils off the face,
We can get that off.
You pull it off.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't need to try.
Moment of truth, shall we check the dimensions again?
Fuck, I got worried.
Because it was
crunching noise.
Just a small. It's pretty square. Just double check that. Is that what it says? 35.32.
35.15.
35.15.
19.
I'll call it 15. So that's one thing. 35.15 plus 30.03 minus, what was that?
25.6.
25.26 plus 62.4, half a mil over.
Half a mil over. And what was the tolerance? Half a mil?
0.05.
So somehow we ended up 0.2 mil higher than we needed to be, which doesn't make sense, but because that was pretty fucking precise.
Yeah, but the way we're measuring with the ruler across here and stuff can be prone to a little bit of error.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're ballpark, and the final measurement is really what the mesh pattern looks like on the gear. So, got a couple of options from here on in. What we could do is get the technical right height by pulling the assembly apart. There's plenty of room for a puller in there. Machine the spacer down, 0.2 millimeters. Restack it up and measure it again, or we can proceed as we have it assembled, install the diff, body, clearance the pinion, and then check the mesh pattern. And I'm more inclined to do it that way because if we do need to sink the pinion, we still have to pull it apart. It's the same process, take a bit of material off, sink the pinion. We'll only increase the clearance by about 0.2 between the body and the end of the pinion, so it's not a major issue. But it is going to be a major if we need to add height to bring the pinion further up to get a good mesh pattern, because it means machining another spacer after we've modified it shorter, or putting shims in. So this way seems the most sensible at this point of time at midnight on a Monday.
Alright, so you see there, it's actually really needs the bee's dick off it, really.
Yeah, and don't forget we packed it 5 mils up too, so if we hadn't packed it at all in the spacer, it would be sitting a lot further down.
Yeah.
But just hang on to that for a sec. I'll grab the ARB manual and see what sort of spec that recommends. Okay, so the good book of ARB says 1/2 mil, minimum clearance between the end of the pinion and the locker body. That's a 1/2 mil feeler blade. Just gonna put that through there. Easy. So it's definitely more than 1/2 mil. So a 30 and a 20 is 50 plus 50 is 100. It's 1 millimeter.
It's awfully quiet now.
That's how you know that. Yeah.
Gee, that's pretty good. 1.01.
And I dare say it's
Probably
because of the
that
rust. And, ooh, if I hold the locker body, yeah, that's just around 1
Double
mil.
the minimum spec.
Yeah, so that'd be enough.
Well, that's good.
That's good. No machining and reworking
So,
the pinion.
Ring gear time.
So the interesting thing is, apart from the almost ended in tears. Apart from the difference in ratio, because mine's a 411 or 410, and yours is a 455.
Yeah.
Mine's also the Nitro brand. Yours is the Motive brand, and on the Nitros, I had to take a lot off the face and re-chamfer it. But I didn't have to make a new custom packer for the bearing. So, well, I guess swings
It's
around.
funny because they're meant to be a factory replacement.
The Nitro, no, the
No,
Nitro.
my ones,
Yeah,
the motives. Well, that saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
If that gear pattern's right,
Yeah. So,
which we'll find out in a sec. Alright, so we know that our clearance from the locker body to the end of the pinion is good. Ben's getting ready to mount again. So it's time. We've had this ring gear cooking on here for like 4 hours now.
you reckon it's medium well?
Mate, she'd be like rubber now. Please just drop straight in.
Let's put another one opposite somewhere here.
Alright, we're Loctiting these?
Yeah.
Alright. Oh yeah, we can actually use the real torque wrench this time.
Oh, I even bought a special tool.
What's that?
Oh, you'll see.
Did you get a new torque wrench?
Yeah, it's an inline adapter that works backwards and forwards. And
Oh,
it
I've
beeps
seen them.
And
Yeah.
beeps when you're up to the right torque. I saw it in Harbour Freight and I had to have
I
one.
was watching a bloke do a penetrant test.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
The clear blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. 55 to 60 foot-pound.
What does the manual say?
97 meters. Which is
How many Ugga
71 foot-pounds. So we'll go 71. It's
Ooh.
quality Quinn.
From America.
Yeah. And then as you torque it up, it tells you, and you can set like, oh, that's Newton meters. You have to figure out this. I'll set to 97.
Trying to use my fancy new thing.
Yeah, with the extendable lever.
Check this, guys. Benny brought me this from America. America, heck yeah.
Oh, your nozzles always block up.
Oh,
No, that's so much better now.
don't you love fixing things to use them?
Story of my life.
Alright, I'll skip through this because it's very riveting. Bolting.
Mate, you just screwed up. Got a thread loose or
Oh
something.
mate, it's getting close to tuning time.
That's it. Best tuning's done by Moonlight.
Ready?
So it counts up.
Look how strong you are.
It's all because of that extra good lever. 20. I'll go halfway. No, maybe 30 or 40. 35.
I'm going to put this down and hold this for Ben before it all ends in tears on the floor. Okay, so that's out of the way. 97 Newton meters. You can see they're all cross-hatched so that we know they're all done. So the first one is half torque, second one is full torque. They're all done. This is all ready to go. I think we're pretty much ready to drill the hole in the casing. Are we, Ben?
We are. Just looking at the things. That's how to fit the bearings, which you've already done. Now it's to drill and tap the bulkhead port. How have we got this? It's pretty cool. You know, you pay a bit extra for ARB gear, but you know, they've put some serious stuff into this.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's good gear, guys. So we both had a brain fart and thought it was an 1/8 inch NPT, which we both got plenty of them. Turns out it's 1/4 inch NPT. But 1/4 inch BSP will get you out of trouble in a bind. You just have to put a bit of RTV or some stag or some kind of jointing compound.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is this thread here, which is the 1/4 side, doesn't actually seal against any major pressure. It's just to fit into the casing.
Yeah.
So if it was a high pressure joint or something like that, you definitely want to be using the right thread form. I think it's 1 TPI difference. So
Yeah.
this one is probably a 19. I think 1/4 MPT is 18 TPI. Okay, so we got to drill a 11.2 or 7/16 hole from the outside in. So we'll get that out of the way. Probably better to put it there because that's pretty close to the ring gear.
Yeah.
And you have more room to.
Yeah, so guys, basically you're going to have your little sandwich plate here and your copper line's going to twist across here and go back down and then out this way. So on the photo it kind of shows it here, but this one's a slightly bit different, I think. So where do you think it'll go over here, Benny?
Yeah, I reckon somewhere there, because if we, that's a nice, there's enough clearance to get the nut in.
Yeah.
And then around here it's somewhere there. So
sounds good. Right, Benny, move over. I'm doing the hard bit.
This is the bit that takes the real concentration.
And you know we've got a rag stuffed in all the orifices, so.
Including that one.
So that was a 6mm, and I'll go through with our 7/16 or 11.2 in real person torque.
Mate, come on.
Doesn't like that.
Try using your right hand.
My right hand?
Maybe this was a right hand drill. Right-handed drill.
You having a laugh or?
You got to, mate. You got to, because I definitely ain't having a sleep. Yeah, the tip is a bit munted on this.
Alright, so the old hole's tapped, as you can see. So it's actually a really similar thread. Anyway, we'll just chuck some anaerobic sealant on it. You could use RTV or stag or pretty much anything that will seal it up. What are you measuring?
2. The standard for taper threads is 1 to 2 turns hand tight, then 2 to 3 turns, and then it should be sealed to the right depth, so that's actually pretty much perfect. So that was 2. I'll just put another half turn on that. I think it should be good.
Yeah, why not? Put it this way, she's not coming out.
There we go. Beautiful. Man, that anaerobic just smells so tasty.
I love it. I use it for everything now. I love that little syringe.
Yeah. You have to like stick it into your new pot and like draw it in.
I wonder if I can. So next up is just the this fitting here with the O-ring.
That's all later on once we've cut the hose.
Yeah.
But next
Cool.
step would be to set the pinion. So whilst it's upside down, we might as well push this
Chuck
bearing
that
in.
bad boy in. Alright, so pinion outboard bearing.
You just check that oil control slinger can be fitted from the other side. I'm proud that part of my car can live on inside your car.
It sounds a bit sus.
Oh, it is. Yeah, we can fit that later. Cool.
Yep. Oh.
No, there's a big... This one.
Yeah.
Exactly the one you're pointing at.
Well, it was a half-assed point.
I reckon it's probably going to be too long.
The spacer? I reckon it's going to be 5 mil too long.
Just pull that up for us. Is that sitting on the spacer or is it sitting on the... Yeah, it'd be it's sitting on the spacer. Is it? No, that's the bearing seat there. But either way, you can tell it comes in way past. So we'll just...
So this is going to have to be pretty accurate though, isn't it?
Yeah. I reckon what we do is we put this on, we'll tighten it to the right tension, then we'll have some end play. We'll use a dial gauge to work out what it is for 0, and then from 0 we'll crush the spacer.
Yeah.
Sound good? Okay, so we don't want any of the dust cover stuff. We don't want the oil slinger. We'll just put that on there. I'll stay there. We have this.
Fucking hell, it's getting that time of night. Alright, so what have we done, Ben? We've just wound that up till it's gotten a bit of tautness.
Yeah, so we've wound the nut up till it's sort of zeroed onto the collapsible spacer. And what we want to do is we're going to go to machine the collapsible spacer so it sets on 0, and then we'll set the bearing preload by crushing the spacer from there. Now, set up the dial indicator just off the end of the sleeve, end of the pinion shaft here. Set on 0, and all I'm going to do is just pull up on it. Make sure that's 0 again. And 1.3. 0. 1.3. So 1.3 mils we need to take off that.
Is that it?
1.3 mils, and then from there we'll crush to get the right preload.
Okay.
So the turning torque, dry pinion torque for new bearings is 1.64 Newton meters.
Alright, so Benny has turned down the solid spacer. This is the old one obviously, but same deal. We took 1.35 mil off.
Yep, off the width.
So basically pinion has gone in the underside. We've got this outboard bearing ready to be pressed in. We're good to go.
Yep. What we're gonna do is get the right preload torque with all the stack. Then we're gonna put the seal in and then check it again.
Yep.
Because once the seal is in, we don't have any chance to check it again.
Time for this oil slinger.
So the oil slinger goes in.
Load.
And the skinny side's out. That one goes in there.
Yep.
So we've put mounting paste on the bearing seat, on the drive flange splines, and on the threads here, because we're going to be going in and out a couple of times and we don't want it picking up. Yep. Stop there. Stop.
Distance there.
Stop there. Back that out. We'll put this on. Yep. Okay. So
that has basically pressed the outboard bearing down onto the
yeah, and we should
seat on
have
the pinion.
almost 0 preload, which is what we expect. So what I'm going to do, just because I don't want everything to get all marred up, is put a bit of mounting paste on here and on this surface here. So when we're tightening it up, the nut's not getting flogged down, so just wind that up. Bit more. Bit more. Bit more. Okay, so we're at pretty much 0 there.
That was a good guess there, Ben. Who would have thought 1.35 mil? Alright guys, so for those of you who have watched our other diff build videos, you might recognise this from the Commodore diff build. We also used it on Ben's, which is the same as this, the Toyota. So we've got the 2 different PCDs, one for the Commodore, one for the Toyota. So that basically bolts onto there. A couple of drive shaft bolts, and then we can get the rolling torque of the bearing preload, which Ben will show you very soon. Alright Benny.
Alright, midnight diff building. It's now officially tomorrow. Speaking from yesterday's frame of mind. But well, what we have is the gear, pinion, nuts, everything all set up. We don't have the oil seal yet because I want to set it up close without the friction of the oil seal. So we've got our little disc here, which you may have seen from such diff builds as
I already mentioned that.
Toby's diff build, my airlocker build, when I finally get the
the video might be out by the time people see this.
Probably. So what we're going to do is, the official factory spec says to do it up to 370 Newton meters and then check it and then go 17 Newton meters every instance after that. My torque wrenchy thing only goes to 200 Newton meters.
Most only do, yeah.
Yeah, 150, 200. So I'm going to use the tried and proven method of ugger-duggering till we get close, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to start rattling it up to get it roughly close, and then we'll check once I feel some preload happening on here. The other way that will help you is if you're not good at visualizing, just mark a spot on the nut, on the socket, relative to whatever you're using as a reference. So for instance, I might just draw a line down there, over to here, and then I know how far I've moved around, and I can use that as a guide for how quickly I feel it tightening up as it comes around. So now it's got quite a lot of preload on there. It's definitely more than 1 kilo.
Because it's all new components, we kind of want to set it up on the tight side, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I prefer to have it on the tighter side, especially once everything wears in and etc. So I'll set it up there.
And look at this. I don't know if you guys remember the last episodes. This is quite an upgrade in strain gauge.
Absolutely, in scaling, and I'm getting 1.8-ish.
This is pretty professional.
Pretty much what we wanted. The spec is 1.6, so just fractionally below that where it was before. This is actually a fish scale.
From America?
From America. I bought it at Walmart while I was perusing the aisles. And you know, one of the things I love about buying random tools now and then is that every tool you own has a story behind it. And whilst I can't remember people's names, I will forever remember the stories behind my tools. So that's the fish scale gauge, or the fishing gauge, from Walmart in Orlando, Florida, that was first opened and used filming this episode of BBG.
At 1 AM.
I think it's about 1:42 AM.
Oh fuck.
Okay, so I'm going to pull that off. Okay. Actually, I think we made this at about 1 AM, that other.
Yeah.
So we got that there.
Or it was first thing in the morning the next day.
Oh yeah, could have been.
I think I got up early and turned that out.
Okay, so now we know the reference point. We've got everything thickness wise that's going to be there. So after we install the seal, it should be roughly in the right position. So if you have a look here, the other thing we can check is where this nut ends up, and you can see it's pretty much on the mangled part. So we probably want to take just a fraction off it or we could, it's just past it, so we could get away with that.
Should be right, Benny.
I love how your standards deteriorate as the evening goes on.
Yep.
You thought about denying that, and then you...
Can't argue with the truth.
Alright, we're just going to get that off, and you can see how nicely the mounting paste does its job. Be right.
But in all seriousness, if you do end up on the same spot, as Ben was saying to me before, you can take basically half a thread pitch off the height of the nut, and yeah, that'll just make it rotate around to a new spot.
No, it's definitely not that one.
Where the fuck did it go?
Well, it was from the kit, so it must be. Next step is to check the past exploded view diagram, but I believe the seal goes in next.
Yep. Another thing, Benny, how is this seal running surface on here?
That's a bit how you're going, because we've polished this up, I think, already with Scotch-Brite.
Did we?
Oh, someone has. Maybe I did it before. I can't remember. Okay, so there's sort of two seal running surfaces. So if you run your finger across here, you can feel there's a groove here and a groove further back there. Now, it's sort of okay at the moment, but depending on where it's sitting, and if it was any worse than that, you'd either get a new flange, which is pretty dear. They're about $60.
Yeah.
And don't buy the universal ones from the US because they're not the right pitch pattern
they're
here
like
for the drive
66
shaft.
mil.
Or you can speedy sleeve this, which you can get from your local bearing shop, which is a really, really thin sleeve that you put over here to give you a nice finish here again. Now, let's have a look. Press the seal in. Oil seal drive depth 1mm plus minus 45. There's 1 mil just under the flange. So we'll grab the seal and we'll see where that position sits.
Yes, sir. She's a real fucking bastard of a dude.
Okay.
It's really annoying when you don't actually know what you're working with.
I feel like that all the time with women.
We won't go there.
Okay, so back on track. Look, just to seal up the end of this episode, this is the seal that came with the bearing kit for this Prado 120 style diff with the bigger bearing carriers. Now, it would appear that the seal, whilst it's the right diameter for the outside, if you check really carefully, this is actually a 40mm inside diameter oil seal. So if we put the verniers up against the lips here, you see it's just on 40 mils. Now, if we take the dry flange and we're having a look-see at this chewed out part here, the actual ground finish is just on 38mm, which extends all the way down to the start of this bottom radius. So that's definitely the wrong seal. That's a 40mm seal. Fortunately, we also have this one on hand, and you can see it's 38, 74, 11, 18.
So what, it pays to stock up on random bits and pieces.
Hoarding.
That one day that it pays off.
Parts hoarding. So you can see that it's got the same wiper lip standoff. The outside diameter is the same. This is a fully encased seal, whereas this one is a steel casing. And that is the right diameter for there. And if you put that on here, it fits nicely. Now, these grooves are pretty shocking in there. Realistically, it should be speedy sleeved. Now, what I'd say is, given the time that it is now, if it leaks, pull that off. We'll speedy sleeve that and just get a new one of these because they're not that dear.
Yep.
So, now that we know that's all good and kosher, you can actually see this has got two lips here, a wiper and a sealing lip. That's the garter spring. That spring there is what they call the garter spring. And this lines up with the two wear tracks, one there and one there. So, usual story when assembling these things. First up, I'll put the anaerobic.
It's officially now my favourite sealant. Looks cool, smells cool.
Comes in a syringe.
Easy to apply.
Did you know that you weren't getting a syringe when you ordered that other one?
No.
So we'll grab some of this moly grease that's on the bench. So So I'm putting it a little heavy into the groove and then wiping it back out because I want it to be in the groove to get the best sealing we can, but at the same time we don't want too much in there because that will take away from the bearing preload that we're going to achieve, hoping to achieve. Okay, so I've coated the lip in there because it's hard to do with the pinion shaft still in, but before I put the dry flange on, don't let me forget to coat this lip.
I'll probably forget.
Well, the viewers will remind you. Oh, I'll put that there.
2 weeks later.
Well, your diff video is definitely going to be out before mine then.
4 weeks.
Okay. Put that on there.
Once again, hoarding pays off. Front hub for the Subaru.
That's how you ended up. That's how I ended up with the situation I have in my garage. But I generally can MacGyver anything out of parts that we have. Okay, now there is actually a spec for this, which is 1 millimeter below the housing here, and I'm gonna just be careful because it's an aftermarket seal, so I'm not sure if they've made it to the same spec as Toyota. Hopefully they have. What do you reckon, Mr. Iometer?
About half a.
Half.
This side needs a little bit more. That's pretty good.
Pretty good?
Grease your lips.
Don't want chafed lips.
Well, I get a bit chafed actually.
Ooh. This is like late night SBS now. That part of the evening when you wander into that weird part of YouTube. The very early morning. Dry flangeroni. Ooh, that feels lovely. Okay, so we need the washer for in there.
Washer, where did I put that?
The nut. There we go.
It's so good once you've actually got these tools made.
Yeah.
You waste so much time making them though.
And then I think you never want to see another diff again.
For at least a year.
For at least. Did you take the other bolt?
Bolt or not?
Bolt. I've got the nut. It can't be too far. Oh, it's there.
Whoa, whoa, rewind.
Whoa. Whoa.
What bolt? Oh wait, the one that's in there.
The one that was already there the whole time, waiting for us. You know what? Deeping into the deep reaches of my memory, I think I put it there so I wouldn't lose it.
Well, that's always the most dangerous thing to do.
It's right where you left it. Okay, so then the markers line back up again. Let's have a look, see where we ended up. 1.5. So we're pretty much on the money. I'm just going to sneak it up a bit more. Lovely.
Alright, what do we do now? Paint it over?
Yep, so I'll get this out of the way.